Despite all the clever storage in the California, there's one area we've always found is a little bit lacking, and that's the boot. But hopefully today that changes, because today we're unboxing, fitting and reviewing a SpaceMate Tray. We've always loved the California's boot. It is huge, and the fact is you never have to worry about not having enough space. But the problem is this: it is too big. It's the only area that's not organised. And the problem comes when you've got a mattress on top. Now, with a big old mattress, you can't fold up the bed shelf. If you do that, the whole shelf comes out and you'll hurt yourself or the van in the process. Now, if you've not come across SpaceMate before, the reason is probably because they operate within an industrial context, specifically within warehouses and similar, applying smart and effective storage techniques. In fact, their heritage can even be traced back to the bendy forklift, pioneered by a chap called Freddie Brown, father of the MD of SpaceMate. So seeing the challenges that some of us face, they've created the SpaceMate Tray, a heavy-duty tray that can be operated with just one hand and can fit any of the California variants. But is it any good? Stick around, we're about to find out. Now, the first thing to say is it's packed extremely well. It actually feels like an industrial piece of equipment that I'm unpacking. It's heavy too, coming in at 21.5 kilograms, but that's a reduction on what the original was at 25 kilograms. Now, applying continuous improvement, what Simon and SpaceMate have done is they've cut this now from a single sheet of steel and forged into the shape you see today. Originally it was welded together, so that now means that Simon and the guys have been able to keep the same rigidity and strength of the original whilst making it that much lighter. But all of that weight makes sense when you actually look at the storage volume. As we've got the California Ocean, our tray is in fact the smallest one on offer, with the beach being slightly bigger. But the weight makes sense when you actually look at the storage volume. Our tray's the smallest of the lot, being for the California Ocean, and obviously there's the beach equivalent. But ours comes in at 90.5 centimetres by 68.5 centimetres, and a height of about, I think it's 12.1 centimetres. And that gives approximately 75 litres of space. But that only takes into account the storage up to the sides of the tray itself. And naturally, you'd be wanting to fill this with boxes. Well, you take the boxes up to the bed shelf itself, and you're probably looking around closer to 150 litres. And as for fitting, it's incredibly easy. 2 T-bar pins in the rail at 72 centimetres, finger tighten the bolt, sit the SpaceMate Tray on top using the holes already cut, and butterfly screw in. And that's it, you're done. Now, because the SpaceMate Tray uses the floor rails, we can't use our carpet anymore. But it's okay, because we've shifted that onto the inside now, and now we have a little bit more luxury on the interior cabin. Now, I'm a stickler for quality. I have to be honest, this tray feels industrial grade. Coupled with a grey powder coating, it honestly is incredibly high quality. And with that single-handed operation, it means that we can operate the tray while still holding whatever else is in our other arm, for example, our buggy or similar. Now, SpaceMate listened to customer feedback as well, with there being 2 minor revisions to the second version of the SpaceMate already. The first revision looked at reducing the ride height as well as changing the latching mechanism to a bit more of a satisfying clunk. And the second revision, which is the one we've got here, replaces the roller mechanism with 3 rubber rollers for a smoother operation, as well as lowers the operating height that little bit lower. But the usefulness is something we've still not discussed. And I know some people will view these trays as a little bit of a solution looking for a problem. Now, the litmus test for us is whether they actually help solve some of the challenges we've faced with the California boot. Now, buggies are the banes of our lives and our backs. They're heavy, they're cumbersome, and fitting them into that California boot can be tricky. And I'm happy to say that our first buggy test was an absolute success. Our single buggy fitted into the tray with absolutely no issues whatsoever, with ample storage for everything else we'd normally carry. Now, when we go away, quite often we'd put the buggy on the bike rack, so we wouldn't actually have to worry about it being in the tray when we go camping. But for daily living, it makes an absolute difference. Now, a single buggy isn't that impressive. Most cars can fit a buggy without any issue. The real challenge, the real test, comes when we bring out the big guns. Our double buggy. Now, this thing is a real beast. It's unruly to store and it's unruly to set up. And in our testing, the wheels and the overall dimensions of the buggy just sit that little bit too high to fit within the actual frame of the tray itself. Now, whilst it doesn't sit perfectly flush, it still sits there comfortably enough that we can still operate the drawer and use it day to day without breaking our backs every time. Additionally, we take with us quite often our two-lay bike rack and tow bar box, which can tilt forwards, allowing us to still operate the boot with it all in place. And I'm happy to say that the tray still works to its full potential, even with all of that fitted on the rear. Now, the thing to mention is this is an additional 25 kilograms of weight on the back of the van, so it's something to keep in mind when talking about payload. However, the usefulness doesn't just stop there. Building on its utility, SpaceMate have even gone so far as to create a kitchen attachment. Utilising two arms, a frame and two specific cutouts, SpaceMate have gone and turned this tray into a kitchenette. Sheltered by the tailgate, it then suddenly becomes an alfresco dining experience. So firstly, we've got the Kadak Safari Chef cutout, which snugly fits our barbecue and we can cook at a decent height. And the second one is a specific cutout for the California's sink bowl, as well as a hole for the California's shower attachment to act as the tap. Now, what's clear to us is how thought through everything is when it comes to the design of these, and you can clearly see there's been some kind of use case behind each of these, driven by experience. An example is the kitchenette's height. It's perfectly aligned to the California's fold-out dining table, meaning you can put it alongside and use it as a food preparation area or a dining table right next to the barbecue itself. But here's the question. Is it actually any good? In short, we're extremely happy with it, and it's been a bit of a game changer for us, but that doesn't mean it will be for everyone. It's incredibly easy to use, whether you're talking about a buggy or luggage or cargo boxes or anything else, and it's also incredibly easy to fit and use. Coupled with the kitchen accessories, it's now sort of become more than the sum of its parts. It's added another layer of versatility to the vehicle, which, let's be honest, was already incredibly versatile to begin with. And with the build quality and sturdiness, we can't see you needing to replace it anytime soon. But then at this price point, I wouldn't expect anything different. The tray retails for £549 for the ocean version and £649 for the beach equivalent. But equally premium on the pricing are the accessories, with the cargo net costing £35, along with the rubberised mat that goes within the tray. Now, it's worth mentioning that at the time of this recording there are a number of discounts on the website, specifically £130 off the kitchen set, which is more than 50%, and the ocean and the beach trays have £50 and £110 off them respectively. But here comes the certain circumstances caveat we mentioned earlier. As with any accessory, there's always a compromise, and the rear of the California is no different. Now, if you're like us, you've removed the stopper in your California rails, allowing you to move the bench seat all the way to the rear of the van. Really useful if you've got a fifth seat, and being able to put that chair in and out and giving the occupant that little bit more space as well. Because the tray takes up that rear space in the rails, you can't move the bench seat back anymore, which means you can't get the fifth seat in, and even if you did have a fifth seat in, the individual in that chair would have very, very, very little room. Now, if you've been after one, we've managed to get a discount from Simon at SpaceMate. He's agreed to a 10% discount for anyone who uses the code in the corner of the screen here, and get you 10% off either the California Ocean SpaceMate Tray, the California Beach SpaceMate Tray, or the Kitchenette unit itself. And all of the links to those can be found in the description below. Now, if you've liked today's video and you want to see more like this, please do hit the like and subscribe button, as they really help our channel grow, reach more people, and help us do more videos like this. Now, with that said, thanks for watching and catch you next time. Bye.